Welcome to Notability, specifically exporting a note. The goals for this tutorial are steps to export your note, storing notes in Schoology, pushing notes to your courses, and how to open a note in Schoology. Now that we've completed recording our note, it's time to export it. So when you're done with your note, tap on the upper left-hand corner on the export icon. Again, you'll have a number of options to choose from, but my everyday experience is to select Share, choose the format Note, and then to share that note. My next step is to copy to Schoology, so I'm going to tap on that icon, add to my resources, Home, and once I come to this page, I'd have to make a decision about where to actually store this particular note. For the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to upload here. Now my note has been saved to my resources folder. So what does my note look like in my resources folder? To be able to fully understand how to work with a .note file and push it out to your students, it's easier to see the resources folder on your computer rather than your iPad. So I'm going to go to the top of my bar, click on Resources, and go to Personal. This is my home resource folder. When I scroll to the bottom, I see my most recently added file, recording a note about Notability lecture.note. If I wanted to push this out to my students, I'd go over to the gear icon on the side, click on that, and click Add to Course. From here, I would click on the course that I would like to add it to. The folder icon comes up, I click on the drop-down, and then I would add it to the course where my students could open it. This basically follows the same steps that we would use to push any file out to our students in Schoology. Now let's back out of the computer, go back to the iPad, and see what it looks like for a student to open a .note file in Schoology. What are the steps a student would have to take to open a .note file that you've given them in Schoology? First thing that they would have to do is go to their courses. They would have to select your course, and I'm going to select Staff Development Day 2015. I'm going to open up our present folder, Next Steps in Notability. I'm going to scroll down until I see tutorial number 9, Making an Audio Recording, and tap on that. And within that file, we see two .note files that I have previously sent to this folder. So how does a student open a .note file to work with? Since we've already seen the recording a note about Notability lecture, let's go to the ticket out the door bond polarity example. The scenario is a student has missed class and has to watch this lecture. So they're going to tap on this note, it's going to load, and then automatically you're going to see this message, unable to view file. This message makes total sense since a .note file can only be opened in Notability. So we're going to go to the upper right hand corner and go to the Open In, tap on that, scroll across until we see the Notability icon, tap on that, and then we see this message, Sent to Notability. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to back out of Schoology, go back into Notability, and automatically this message shows up on my screen. At the very top, it says Ticket Out the Door, Bond Polarity Note. This is exactly what your students will see as they go through this process. So I'm going to click Open, and there's a bond polarity note that I've previously recorded. As we've seen before, the student will click on the down arrow, the recording bar will come up, and they'll press the play button. As soon as they press the play button, all the annotations will go light, and they'll press play.
Okay, so what I'm going to do here is go over this ticket out the door on determining bond polarity. So using what you learned in class today, determine whether the identified bond is polar covalent or non-polar covalent.
And just to mention one more time, they can tap anywhere on the screen and see what is said at that particular point in the lecture. So now we've reminded ourselves what it looks like when a note plays. If I back this out to my library, you can see that the ticket out the door bond polarity has already been added. So these are the steps a student would go through if they had a .note file in Schoology and they had to open it and listen to it in Notability.